shall have their part in the lake that burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death.
Hi Joseph, how are you doing?
That's where idolaters deserve to go. I'm
going to try to. Joseph doesn't like debating, so he's going to ignore me for about 20 minutes, and I'm going to try to give him this book. But I might be wrong about that. Let's see.
Better talkers than listeners.
Some of the, yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the 336. Yeah, they're crazy. You as well. You as well. Check me out on YouTube to see how this goes. You can watch it in double speed. Oh, right. My YouTube is yeah, the Dork Shop at YouTube. The Dork Shop. See you online. I've already have two on there. You can watch hours of this.
See, I wonder how many of you out here today have ever even asked God, what do you want for me to do with my life?
Hey Joseph,
I wonder how many people out here have ever asked God that question.
Joseph, I want to talk to you about your
My
behavior.
guess would probably be very few of you.
When can I have 20 minutes of your time, Joseph? You can
See,
drink.
You're not fit to run your life. You're not smart enough to run your own life.
Is that right? Is that right, Joseph?
See, all of us have proven that by our sin.
That's pretty cynical.
And the Bible says the cowardly will not inherit the kingdom, but the righteous are as bold as lions. The Bible says the wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget God.
It's a pretty good argument.
See, that's one of the main problems with this nation. You've forgotten God.
We haven't forgotten God, Joseph. We got him on our money, dude. We put him in the Pledge of Allegiance. How can you claim that they've forgotten God when they're getting closer and closer to a Christian God? They're gaining ground on that front. So how do you call them fallen? We have fallen from secularism. Do you not understand that? Your arguments are weak. I'd like to talk to you. I'd like to talk to you about this book. I'd like to talk to you about our collaboration. I'd like to talk to you about the people that are in town today. I'd like to talk to you about how you feel.
The Bible says, do not answer a fool according to his folly.
But none of those questions.
The Bible says, do not cast your pearls before swine.
But we are not swine. We are your fellow Americans, and I have fellow Americans.
People want to mock God.
No, Joseph.
God's word, but they don't know the Bible. They wouldn't know the Bible even if it smacked you in the face.
Listen, Joseph, if I just wanted to mock you, that's what I'd start.
You've forgotten God, even if you ever knew him to begin with.
Look.
How many Bibles have you probably seen or had in your possession in your life?
I put this book in your face the other day. That was way over the line, okay?
People, don't you know
I'd like to apologize.
Jesus Christ.
That sort of behavior was unbecoming of
Jesus Christ burnt up whole cities because they didn't heed his message. He said Sodom and Gomorrah are going to rise up against them. You see,
I'm not apologizing for anything else.
Straight from heaven.
But do you
see, and you're telling us that he's going to rise up and condemn these cities.
Do you accept my apology for waving this so close to your face that it was incredibly big? Do you please accept my apology?
You have Bibles at home. You've forgotten God's word. You don't read God's word. You don't believe it, and you don't obey it.
No, I don't.
You see, you're in great danger.
I'd like to talk to you.
You see, God is going to punish you with everlasting destruction from the presence of the Lord and from the glory of His power.
I know I gave you an hour and a half the other day, and so you think that
you can get right with God.
You're just one of the Christians.
You can be under His favor instead of under His condemnation.
So I would only like to just get to a point in 20 minutes.
But it's going to cost you your sin, and you're not willing to give it up.
This is a book that I would like to give you.
See, following Jesus Christ will cost you something.
This is the book that I was using
statistically. He says in the book of Matthew,
to mock your love of the Bible.
Or
not yesterday, but the other day.
Will come after Jesus that was Christ, let him deny himself, pick up his cross, and follow me.
That was true, but it felt a lot better after you thrown it in the
life will lose it, and whosoever for my sake who loses his life for my sake will find it. For what is it if a man profited if he gained the whole world and lose his own soul?
I can help you in your life, but let me tell you about the parables that are contained in here. It's sort of into the middle of the
Luke 9:26 says, for whosoever shall be ashamed of me and of my words,
basically the way it works is Vimes is the captain of the guard.
When he shall come in his own glory and of his fathers and of the holy angels.
All of the crime in the city of Morpork is his to solve. His
people these days will talk about free salvation and free grace. But on Jesus' part, that's actually true. But salvation is going to cost you everything. It's going to cost you your sin. It's going to cost you your life. It's going to cost you what you want to do with your life, your dreams for your life. And complete and utter surrender to Jesus Christ.
Between him and the patrician, that
So you
he'll
think God's
never
a
be
fool,
the Savior.
that you could only
if the
submit
city
partially
never
to him?
needs
You
one.
think that he's okay with that, but that's
And
not
so,
the case, people.
you know, that's a little bit of a backstory, but
When
what
was the
happens
last
in
time there was a
this
war and you saw an enemy surrendering to his opponent,
is
and
we
he still
really
had guns in his hands pointed toward his
explore the
opponent while he
idea
was surrendering?
that what
People, do
slavery
you really
is.
think God's going to
And what
accept
a
your
free
partial
agent
surrender
is.
while you still hold the weapons of your warfare pointed at him?
It's the story about the very first golem that
No,
owns
people, God
himself.
commands you to go and sin no more.
And
If you come to that place where you
doing
give
it so
up
fast
all of
that
your
I'm making
sins,
you
he's not going to
emotional.
receive you.
And I'm embarrassed about that, so I'll try to contain it. But the
People, he
first
doesn't accept partial surrender.
The
He
first
doesn't
golem
accept partial
to
lordship.
own himself
Only
is a
absolute
golem named
lordship.
Dorful.
Or absolute
And
lordship.
this is the
If you
story
confess with your mouth the
of how-
Lord Jesus and you believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead,
how
then you
Dorful
will be saved.
comes to know that he owns himself.
But how can you call Jesus your Lord when you
And
won't
then
obey him? How
what
can
he
you call him your
finds
Lord
himself
when you don't do what he commands you to do?
compelled to do
You don't tell someone who's your Lord.
because he is finally responsible.
You don't say no,
for his
Lord.
own
It's only
reality.
yes, Lord.
And
Yes,
so,
Lord. Whatever you want, Lord.
and
You
he's
say no to
made-
him, he's
he's
not your
made
Lord. It's that simple.
our enemy in this purpose.
See, that's why the Bible says in
ironically,
Matthew 7,
is the king of the
many
of
will
the
say unto me in that
golems.
day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name?
That the golems
And in your
themselves
name
created
have cast
to
out
save
devils,
themselves
and in
from
your
the slavery
name
they
have done
found
many
themselves under.
wonderful works. And then will I profess
And
unto
so
them,
when you read
I
this,
never
there
knew you.
are a lot of
Depart
silly
from me, you
passages
that
and
work
a lot
iniquity.
of quite frankly embarrassing
Because that's the
passages.
problem.
But if you're
People are still
willing
workers of iniquity.
to see beyond them
People are
and
still doing
connect
evil.
to the
God
story
commands you
and
to
the
stop doing evil.
metaphor
See, and in this
that's
day and
going
age,
on,
people are going to do anything and everything
think
to try
that
and dull the message of the
seeing-
Bible.
seeing
They'll do
Dorful
anything and everything
and
they
the way
can to try
that
and
he
dull their
behaves
conscience.
when he realizes he's a free man,
See, I see people walking around with phones in their face,
would be
staring at their
helpful for you.
tablets.
So this is Terry Pratchett's Feet of Clay. Please do
And
read it.
the devil loves
I
that.
do understand that you're going to throw it
The devil
away,
will
and
do
that is a
anything he can to try and
behavior. So
stop
what I'm going to
you.
do is I'm not going to put it on your stuff like I did last time. I'm going to set it right here.
To
Because
try and
that's
stop you
not,
from being
you know,
convicted by the word of God.
you
See,
can't
you're
just
so
walk away
distracted
from
to
it.
your own demise.
You don't have to
A
throw
great
it away.
preacher once said,
And so,
entertainment is the devil's substitute
you know,
for joy. I couldn't agree more.
I am trying to come
You're
to
entertaining
terms.
yourself to death. TVs,
But I want to point
computers,
out,
video
Joseph,
games, tablets,
you've
smartphones,
given me
anything
one
and
step.
everything
So,
to quote-unquote make yourself happy.
what people are seeing
While
right
true life
now
can be
is a
found in
person
Jesus Christ, you waste your
trying
life
to
on
come
these
to
things.
terms against a person.
And what is
who
your
doesn't
life?
want
It's even but a vapor
And if you
that
think you're
appears
showing
for a
something
little
other
time
than
and
that,
then
I
vanishes
really would
away.
like
You see,
to
your
hear
life
it
will vanish away one day,
in the
people, and you will stand in front of
the
God.
YouTube video, this video right here. So I'm going to use my
You
last 20
will
minutes on
stand in
Joseph
front of God and give an
Montano,
account.
and he's going to be able to clarify
Your life
this,
is
because
going
the
to
answering
vanish
questions
away,
that I'm
and you are
actually
going
asking,
to stand in
questions
front
that
of
people
God
like
and
me
give an account, and you are not ready.
instead of yelling at
People,
the
you're
straw
not
men that we
ready
are
to give an
not.
account because you are still dirty.
You're not ready to have
You're
this
still
conversation
wicked.
because you haven't studied the
It
correct
says
parts of the
in
Bible.
Isaiah, wash you,
You have
make
only
you
the
clean.
poetry.
Put away the
So
evil of
why
your
not
doing from
understand
before
the
my eyes.
theology and
Cease
the
to do evil.
consequences of
Learn
it?
to do well.
Love to
Seek
talk to you
judgment.
for hours at a
Relieve the
time about
oppressed. Judge
that.
the fatherless. Plead for the widow.
And then you
Come now and let us
post
reason
it on
together,
my
says the
videos,
Lord.
and my
Though your
1,000+
sins be
subscribers
as
will be
scarlet,
part
they
of this
shall be as
conversation.
white as snow.
You'll
Though they be
have
red
an
like crimson,
invitation
they shall
to
be
use your
as wool.
microphone in the cult
Yes, people.
that I created.
God is willing to wash away all of your sins.
That is, I would do anything
all
for
of
that
the corruption.
opportunity.
All of the
Speak
wickedness.
to all of the parishioners with their very
There's
own
nothing too
mind.
vile that the blood of Christ can't wash
I would
away.
love to talk to them.
There's
It's a
nothing
privilege
that's too wicked
that I would
that Christ can't forgive you of or pardon
attempt
you
to
from.
fucking do tricks for. I would try to fool
See,
people
some
into
of
giving
you,
them.
you've murdered your child through abortion.
I don't think I have yet.
Some of you have had sex
But I've
outside of
thought a
marriage
lot
with
about
dozens
it.
of people.
What that letter would look like. That
Some
would,
of you are
trick
engaged in
people
depravity, like
letting them use the
homosexuality.
microphone in their
But you see,
own
people
church.
are here to tell
where
you
the
God is mighty to
parishioners are
save
there
you.
with
See,
their
Christ can
critical
deliver you from your
facilities turned
sins.
off. I'd love to talk.
And the Apostle Paul,
And I'm allowing you
persecuted
that
the church of
privilege.
God. He called
But they
himself
can't
the
hear
chief
you
of
right
sinners for
now
that.
because my microphone
You see,
doesn't
in
work
God,
like that.
He delivered him. He
So
made him
if you do
apostle
want
unto
to
the
talk to my
Gentiles. He ended up
followers
writing
like
most of
I
the New
want to
Testament
talk to
under the
yours,
inspiration of the Holy Spirit.
you're going to have to sit down from your silly
There's
stool
no
right
sin too
there.
great. Christ can deliver you.
You're going to have to talk to
There's
me
no
like an
sin
adult instead
that
of
God
avoiding this
can't forgive you of,
conversation.
that God can't free you from.
You really need to grow up and talk to me instead of yelling at people.
Don't be deceived and believe that it's too impossible, that it's impossible, it's too late.
It's making you look like a child, and in fact,
see, if you hear Christ's voice today, don't harden your heart.
You're reflecting
because
poorly
today
on
is the day of salvation. People, don't harden your heart.
The people do hear what I'm saying, and they understand
that their heart when they were in the wilderness.
I look like
they ended up wandering around for 40 years blinded.
That's mythology. That never happened. That never happened.
There still remains a promise.
You believe in mythology like Thor or Odin. It's crazy.
To those who repent.
If someone told me,
3:19, it says,
no, really,
therefore,
Muhammad broke the moon in half. No, really, he flew to Jerusalem overnight. I'd be like, dude, come on. Do you really believe that? And they'd be like, what?
God offers you kindness.
The Quran's true.
God offers you grace. God offers you pardon.
Do you have about 20 minutes to talk?
To blot out all of your sins.
He never talks to me, so really it's just like an exercise in talking to a wall. But I have 20 minutes left on my battery here. Do you want to go to some place that's a bit less echoey and have just a conversation? I would as well.
Did you say you had a fake accent?
Yeah, my real voice is like this. So I'm Southern Californian.
But why do you use an accent?
For theater, I do it online because the same way he uses a bullhorn. Sorry, my apologies. I'm a Pastafarian, and so we use satire to mirror the worst behaviors in our opponents, and to sort of show them what we dislike the most about what they're doing. And so I feel like if Joseph really wanted to get people to understand this truth that he feels has saved him, he would behave differently than he's behaving now, because he's not doing the things that would help me. You know what I mean? Yeah. What about this? Do you like this location?
It's okay.
Cool. This is a gorgeous view. Let me, if you don't mind, let me move you over here.
Alright, I'm just gonna sit my bike over on the wall here.
Okay. So I don't want to give you too much of an explanation, because it is online and it's kind of boring. But the idea sort of was like, people were saying they wanted to teach creationism in science class, and so we're like, well, that would be kind of like us teaching this very crazy thing. And so you can see why we wouldn't want you to do it. And so it's sort of, that was in 2005 that happened. So I've been working here in the streets with sort of a satirical point of view to explain to these people what's ineffective about their work. And I do it for a number of reasons. I come from a background of religion. I was Mormon. I was raised Mormon. But also a background in theater. And so that's why I like the street part of it. It feels very... not just American and First Amendment, but also so ancient too, right? Greek and just everyone was always talking in the street. Yeah, and so we talk about like David, because like I say, I came up reading the Bible, King James version, in fact. So it was a very romantic.
Just a Smith corrected version?
No, in fact, we don't print that very often. You don't see that in print very often because. Now that
controversial.
Yeah. They don't want to defend any of the things he said in it. Like now that I see it from the outside, it's a lot easier to be like, why they don't? Because he was crazy. Like, pardon me.
Well, he was audacious. I'll give him that.
Yeah. I wonder, because one of the things that really helped me move out of it was understanding Scientology a little bit, and seeing L. Ron Hubbard and sort of his behaviors, and then seeing Joseph Smith doing something so similar that I couldn't really stop seeing it. So yeah, he was very bold. He might have been pathological. I'm not sure. It's very hard to understand what these people believed and what they just sort of said. So, like, I don't want to get into that, but I do want to talk just sort of about what you think about street debate. What do you think about this? This has been a glut of street preachers today, and so what were the good moves or methods, and what were the ones that we were just like, this guy's just he's not really doing what we're supposed to.
Okay, well, I mean, I saw one fellow there was two of them, following this woman down the street, and they were carrying the speaker as they had the microphone following her. I thought that was a little over the top.
Yeah.
Like, that can make someone feel a little intimidated.
Yes. Yes. I'm going to intimidate you with the truth.
Like,
seems.
I have a bigger voice than you, and I'm going to follow you with it.
Yes.
So I wouldn't have done that personally. One thing I appreciated was more so preaching a message of continued devotion to God and continually trying to do what is right, rather than saying, well, I prayed this prayer a while back, I'm saved, doesn't matter what I do now. It's sort of given Christianity such a bad name, and I don't think something should be declared true or false based on whether it makes Christianity look bad, but when you preach something that's false like that, I think it's going to make Christianity look bad. Mm-hmm. That, oh, we can do whatever we want because we have this like inside like deal with God that, you know, we've signed the contract. Now it doesn't matter whether we act irresponsibly or not. So it's sad to see that. So like, I was glad that someone was preaching the opposite message, where we do have responsibility before God, you know, for the rest of our life. Even if we've been born again, we still have to do what is right.
And so, so I'm not Christian, and when I look at all these people, they all look like Christians to me. Would you agree with that they're all Christians?
I mean, in some sense, I would say, like,
okay.
There's.
But then there's this other sense of like true Christian, and you would disagree that some of them are.
Yeah, I mean, it's like in the same way that if you were to like ask different people who would claim to be Muslims whether this other person is Muslim
right.
or not.
You're right.
They have a like different scale of like, well, I mean, they might say the Shahada, they might claim this or that, but they don't practice jihad, and so they're not true Muslim. Or it's
right.
Like, there can be different degrees.
Because I don't know the difference between Sunni, Shiite,
Sunni and Shia.
Yeah, and so they definitely disallow the other side, right? Like, we are the true Muslims and they are the not true Muslims.
It's kind of similar to the schism with the Catholic and Greek Orthodox, as far as like leadership.
Yeah.
That's kind of where it started.
Yeah. Really early, right? Like the first, and then.
So that's the same thing with the Sunnis and the Shias.
And then their
division was over like whether the caliphate had to be someone from the same family as Muhammad or not.
But to me, they both look like true Muslims, you know?
Right. So there's a certain core foundation of beliefs.
So what do you think? Do you think that all the preachers here do share something? What do you reckon they have in common?
Well, I mean, obviously they're all preaching that Jesus Christ is the Savior, and that we need to have some form of relationship with Him. I don't know what each individual one claims.
Is that enough, do you think, to make you a person in Christian, to accept the divinity of the person Jesus? Is that what determines?
Well, I think if you have that along with a surrender of yourself to Him, like if you say, I believe that you are the Savior, I need to be saved, and whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. Once somebody makes that step, I believe that God will put His Spirit in them, that they'll be born again.
Would you call that obedience as well? Would that surrender be a sort of obedience to the law?
Sure.
Okay.
It kind of be obedience to the Spirit of God working on their heart.
So something that all Christians probably share.
But that is only the start. And I think when somebody moves away from that, and they say, well, okay, now I don't really feel like saying whatever you want me to do, I'll do it, then they cease to be a Christian.
So obedience is obedience.
Surrender, devotion,
so an acceptance of the divinity of Christ and a surrender or devotion. Devotion, I think, might be the best word so far. All right.
So making a commitment to live according to that belief.
I think that's all I'm going to post about
other details will follow as you continue to.
So during that obedience, there is a revealing as well.
Well, sure.
Oh, the devotion.
Yeah, I think it's a lifelong process of learning more and more about what He wants of us and how to be close to Him.
Okay. So you could say that every day is a step closer. So like
should be.
Yeah. So like you're born again every day. Like you're.
Yeah. When a child is born, it doesn't just stay,
right.
An infant.
So the being born again is it's not like a moment. It's how it's.
Well, it is, like birth is a moment, right?
Right.
But then the child doesn't stay a child; it grows up.
Okay.
So there's maturity also.
So you guys, you're going to be out on the streets. I see your bikes. I haven't seen you on these on the streets before. Is this where you usually go? You Saturdays or?
We don't really have a schedule or routine.
Cool. Well, I do hope to see you a lot.
To be out here more.
Yeah, me as well. Me as well. So I think that we're going to bump into each other a lot more. So I don't need to get to the end of our conversation here today. But what I am trying to do is not think of ourselves. I'm trying to do something in Denver where people from different points of view do come and talk about things that they disagree on. So if there's something that you would like to talk to one of these people about that you disagree on, I think I could find the format and the moderator to make it a productive feeling conversation for both of you. And I think that we as Denver can be sort of known of that online in like the Facebook and the YouTube sphere as a place where people have good faith conversations, kind of like what they have in London. They've got a speaker's corner where people go to talk about religion. It's very contentious there, but I think here in Denver, please do check it out. It's old, but it like comes from a tradition that's centuries old, I think. But I think here in Denver we can have something that's a bit more good faith than sort of a posturing sort of thing that we might be falling into.
I appreciate respectful debate.
Me too.
I really believe that you can disagree with someone and still care about them as a person.
Yeah, and I think that we as Americans can find a way to disagree with each other about things that are important to each other's faces without hurting feelings. And I think that if we can do it grassroots, then we can demand that our leaders learn the tools. I think that they are displaying an inability to overcome difference.
It sounds rather optimistic.
Yeah. And so if you think it's too romantic and too optimistic, I understand you're not wanting to. But if you find something you'd like to talk to anyone about, please think of me because I think interesting conversations are the thing that invite a third party in. Like they're trying to come talk to me, but I think that if someone were to be able to spy on this conversation, they would. And so I think the camera and the mic are the way that we can do that.
Well, I'm certainly open to discussing anything that someone has sincere questions about.
Yeah.
They want to follow the truth where it leads.
Yeah. So I don't want to like think about it today. I just want to sort of like when something pops up, like this, because something that I've decided is that Joseph Montano, I think, believes that the Earth is flat, and so having a conversation about that, I think, would be very productive. And so, it took me a while to figure out what I want to talk about for like an hour or two. But then now that I do, it's like I'm very excited to have that conversation. So if you find yourself having that, think of me and think of the mall, right? I think that we can be sort of a little bit of known for that online. What was your name again? Nathan and
Robert.
If you don't mind,
Okay.
Nathan and Robert, very, very good to meet you. I'm looking forward to seeing more of you down here. See you soon. Thank you very much, sir. Oh, that's not what I mean. I didn't mean to turn on. So what do you think about that, Pastafarian? So many people on the streets. Well, I've got some more minutes here. Let's see if there's anyone else to talk to. Hello. How are you? No worries. Hello there, my name is Mitchell. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing a lot better since I've met some very individuals I've seen my perspective on the day. I'm doing well.
Who'd you meet today that changed your
I
perspective?
met this dude over at a very cool bitch, a flying sign, and he bought me a Burger King burger, stuffed it into my belly, and then I met Russell.
Do you mind if I record this?
No, go ahead, bro.
Thank you very much. Your name was Eli?
Eli McCoy from Littleton, Colorado.
Littleton?
Yeah, where some of mine happen now from Denver.
Cool. I'm Mitchell. I've been in Denver since 14. Hello. It's good to see you again.
Born and raised, 1980.
Cool.
Where are you from?
I'm originally Arizona, but I was only there for a year, and then I was raised in Southern California.
So cool.
I told them a little about you, about the Pastafarian thing, about the debates. I was just running my core value and all those points.
Yeah, we were.
Somebody, I actually got into a long conversation with a fellow here. He's kind of a sad case, PTSD, obviously. But he couldn't told me as much. But I was saying that there should be the decency laws against public nudity and stuff, and he kind of brought up that, you know, big picture, would you be willing to compromise on like Free the Nipple Titty Day if like if that meant that you could get these other things that you would want? And that did, in big picture, that does seem that seems pretty harmless compared to like.
I don't have any thing to light it with.
Oh, I'll give you a lighter, bro.
Oh no, thank you. My wife is in the car with when she rolled. I don't mean to.
It was kind of a fortuitous thing. We just started hanging out here, and we noticed that there was a.
No, it's very kind of you. It's very kind of you.
That's how we are in Denver. That's what we do here in Denver. Or as human, dude.
What do you think about these vents right here? What do you think's going on right there?
It's the best, dude. It's the sound. It's all different sounds as you walk by. They always change, bro.
And so it's like a Disneyland thing?
No, they do trains. They'll do people getting drunk at the bar.
But it's similar to like a Disneyland gimmick. That is just kind of a neat
so
thing.
it's like an amusement ride.
Whose is it? Who pays for this? Is it this building here?
The city does it.
So it's part to do with like the mall?
Or do I have it?
Dude, I don't take it.
I think it's something that they did to bolster the 60th people.
It blew my mind when I was walking by. I was like, what is happening?
If you notice,
I jumped because the first time it was like a roar.
They go when they're activated by your motion.
Gotcha. Okay.
If you walk away far enough, watch, you'll stop.
You know what? I bet it's also to discourage homeless from living here.
Yeah. A lot of these things are double pronged. Like
these spikes on the
yeah.
See?
That's
It's a trip, son.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Like a Canon, I used to film flight clutch stuff.
Yeah. I've only got like 20 minutes, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
Because I'm still sort of editing what we've got, and I think we've got a lot of good stuff. So I don't want to get too ahead of what we're doing because I'm really bad at editing. Like as soon as I have another thing on my plate, I just sort of like get anxious about it and like drop other things.
So far, I'm really having great...
No, not yet. Soon though. I'm very excited.
So far, I'm having really great luck with random encounters today. I had a really thoughtful conversation with that first guy. And yeah, now Eli, we were just talking about like...
That's crazy as Kurt Vonnegut or...
Yeah. Kurt it's good. It's a good source.
He was a pro snowboarder, went to the Olympics.
Good for you. Thanks for representing our country in some shit that matters.
Steamboat Colorado.
Hell yeah.
That's when I really feel patriotic, because I'm like, oh yeah, who took the gold? Was it?
Halcyon Hill was the first ski resort in the United States of America, by the way.
Is that right? Where was it?
Halcyon Hill, Steamboat.
Gotcha. Steamboat's gorgeous.
Man, you've been there.
Yeah.
Wait!
So there were so many preachers on the mall today. Did you see them?
I made contact with a couple of them, got into it. One of them agreed to debate me about the right to self-defense.
Yeah. When do you want to do it? I'd love to. Do you need a moderator?
He's from Texas.
Are you going to set it up? Let me know.
Thinking, like, we might do it that way.
Oh, yeah. The guy from Texas?
Yeah, these guys.
I generally don't accept just because I'm not handing things out is one of my big gimmicks, and so I'm putting it off. So I'm sort of like not accepting.
Although I do do the Defend Denver business card because that comes up so often.
Yeah.
So I'm with this group Defend Denver and like, okay, cool. I'd like to talk.
Yeah, something to take a photo of too works really well through Corona.
One of the guys was a trip.
I usually have my mask.
Yeah, me too.
Like
No offense, everyone.
Mwamba.
Okay.
It's kind of like Wamba, the jester from Ivanhoe, the book.
Oh, I haven't read it. Okay.
Really good.
Okay.
But, hilarious. But this guy, it was Mwamba or like Mwamba or something like that. And he was he couldn't wrap, we were talking about the nature of God and stuff, and he couldn't wrap his mind around certain words, so he would revert back to his like African speech, which was like this click thing. It was a trip.
I don't think I met him.
It might have been that, yeah. I mean, the guy was making cogent points, and he had a very distinct interpretation of biblical, like, I gotta give them that. They've clearly researched it and thought about it, and like when I made a biblical reference, they were like, "Oh yeah, absolutely," and they're totally familiar with it and had their own take.
So yeah, when you meet a person who really knows their stuff, like you gotta start moving into a different sort of conversation. Like when it's just sort of throwing sound bites at each other, like a lot of people do, and it's like, you haven't even read it.
When I asked them, did they want to debate you? They're like, "Oh no."
Yeah.
But they were willing to debate me about because I'm a Catholic and they don't like Catholics, and they've got this argument ready for Catholics, and then you probably need them like a ton of bricks because they weren't really expecting this complete thing that would question the fundamentals.
Right.
Of course Jesus is God. That's what we all agree on.
Yes. I very much am surprised when I say, okay, but the Bible's false, and then people just keep quoting it. Like, dude, how do you do that to people who just don't believe it? But it is the.
It's like watching paint dry and yelling at it at the same time.
Man, that's what it feels like out here with Maldonado. Like just screaming at paint as it dries. Yeah,
it feels good for you though, right?
I mean, it does because today, I got some stuff off my chest that he didn't even have to listen to. I get to sermonize a little bit, and then I get to post it and get some videos. So it's all good for me.
I like that perspective.
Yeah. It was a good day down here. It was crazy. Everyone was here.
Let me ask you a question.
Please
You know
do.
how to surf?
No, I don't. I don't.
Channels, like, damn, I thought you
Yeah, sorry. I am from Southern California. A lot of my friends do surf, but I sort of missed it. Yeah, Anaheim's great.
California, you can't surf, man.
Was.
That's like me
Kinda
from
went
Italy
downhill.
not eating pizza.
No, I agree. I am a crazy person. I have missed some of the important things. Also, I was around SoCal when the music scene was just hitting, and I just missed it like an idiot. So yeah, I mean,
Always good music scene there, bro.
well, in LA, yeah, it really is. It's good. Yeah.
Music genres.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was there when grunge was happening, and that felt very West Coast. And there was that SoCal. Yeah, Pearl Jam was my.
So in Seattle, and Eddie Vedder got arrested at his own show. He got so drunk. You never seen anything like it, bro. He was like, "Fuck your place," yelling at the cop. And I'm like, "Bro, give me the show." I'm like, "No, you're boss now, bro, Eddie."
He was out of his mind for a while when he would climb around on all the things. That was nuts. It was self-destructive, right?
Yes,
Like it was a dare to suicide because the person he was replacing had died to it. Like it was.
He was good though.
He was so good. His voice is like no other. Like please, Eddie Vedder is amazing. Yeah, national treasure. So to have lost him to his craziness would have been as tragic as losing any of these others. So, you know, yeah, I'm trying to save our young artists. Like this self-destructive bent they seem to have is.
Bro, I got on methadone and I've been clean up heroin for 8 months, dude.
Congratulations. That is a difficult
And I
time.
did 10 days in Douglas County of nothing, bro.
Hey, did you find that a spiritual experience helped you to get off of that?
Yes.
What was the spiritual experience you had?
There, bro.
Yeah?
Why didn't you talk to him, dude? I was not, bro. He literally lifted my body all the times I couldn't move.
Mm-hmm.
I'm serious.
And he helped you get off methadone?
I'm back on it, but
I haven't
was in a
heard.
motorcycle wreck, dude, and they put me on it, and I was in a coma. After coma, and I had no choice really. But I've dropped from 200 milligrams. I'm down to 65.
Congratulations. I do. Yeah, congratulations. Well done. It's a difficult task
I've
from
been
what I
doing
hear.
pills since 18. I'm a pro snowboarder, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll show you some stuff on Facebook sometime, bro. Like, I've been knocked out.
No, I'll look you up. What was your name? Ian?
Eli McCoy.
Eli McCoy. My apologies. Eli McCoy. I'll look you up. Very excited to see.
From Steamboat, bro.
Represent Steamboat. Yeah, I love Denver now that I've moved here. It's a gorgeous
Right, and just
place.
It's
great.
22 countries in the world, and
that's
like
you are really well traveled.
I think one of the top in the world. It's like Paris, Amsterdam, New York. Plus we got the females now, but you're married, so.
Well, yeah. I mean, you don't know my
I mean,
situation.
with the single ladies.
No, see, we gotta have like social conservative norms basically that need to be established.
That might be true. That might be true.
Civilization thing.
That might be true.
At the same time, like, go ahead.
Who would be best to debate that against? Do you think in town?
Well, it's I had surprisingly good success debating the libertarians. I kind of feel like a lot of this is a right-wing dispute because it really comes down to libertarianism.
Who are they talking to tomorrow?
Shoot, I don't know. I don't really keep up that closely.
Dude, propose it to them as sort of like the next topic or something. Like
that might be fun.
Because thinking about that move that they did, because it just really seemed like a how do we dismiss these guys, right?
Yeah.
And so they were leading you with all these things, and they didn't really even care about the evasions. Because the point is, well, it doesn't matter what they were trying to lead you down. The point is what you were trying to talk about.
To this day, I'm still kind of wondering, like, we were saying there was no ethical way to have an ethno-state.
Right.
They were like, well, what if there was an ethical way to have an ethno-state? And I'm like, well, I guess if there was an...
I'm sorry. My bad, brother.
I was like, I guess if there's an ethical way to do it, I have no ethical objections. But again, we're getting into this academic fantasy land. It's never going to fucking happen, so why even talk about it?
Right, and then, because the whole point is they're trying to say, well, that's what you would want. It's like, well, then if it's what I want, why aren't I looking for one, right? So if I want that solution as a racist, because they're saying you're racist, right? They're saying you are the part of the right that is racist, and we gotta find it and cut it out. And by the way, that's a cool thing that the right is thinking about right now.
I do think that's an important commitment. That's like why the alt-right failed. They got branded with it, and they didn't know what to do with it, and they didn't disavow it, and so it got defined by it.
Well, because their disavow is like, disavow, and so they turned disavow into, they cut the teeth of it. So
also, and then the ostracism thing is a delicate thing to bring out, because if you try and ostracize someone who's like, wait a minute, you're ostracizing me because I'm a white supremacist, now I in good conscience can't like drop it, because you can kick me out because I'm like in your face and yelling at you about calling me a racist, but you can't kick me out because I'm a racist. I don't want that to be the official fucking reason.
That's a good point, man, because that's a heavy term.
Right, and it means something significant that needs to be addressed.
No apologies are necessary at all.
I can hack the stack though very, very easily.
I never got into it.
Yeah, I missed that as well. I missed that.
It's an amazing thing. When I was in Thailand, I got asked to join the World Footbag Association.
Cool.
My mom wouldn't let me though.
She'll let you.
She won't let me travel. I was like, I'm already in Thailand, Mom. You know, you have to finish your degree,
What degree were you going for?
A bachelor's in communication.
Communications, cool.
And a mediation and public relations certificate.
That's great.
From CU.
Cool. Yeah, cool.
How's that? I lived in Dublin, Ireland for a year. Did public relations for the Basketball Association. It was fucking tight, bro. Dublin's fucking awesome, but...
Yeah, no, I believe it. I look forward to it.
You should get there.
I will.
You know, Germany's cool. Estonia.
Cool.
Prague.
I've been to New Zealand, and that is
Kiwis.
Well, yeah, it's gorgeous. Check it out.
Oh yeah, bro. They got some of the sickest snowboarding out there, bro.
Oh, cool. Yeah. No, not at all.
Well, anyway, in that whole thing, I do feel there's got to be some way for like white people to have interests that are like at least taken into account. That if, say, I've got a problem with an affirmative action law, because I think it's unfair. That doesn't mean you should like hit me with a brick because I'm a racist.
Right. I think that the affirmative action attempt should be post-mortemed by now. You know, like I think whatever that was and whenever it happened and what we were trying, it should be like, cool. Well, what didn't work? And for our next whatever, let's make sure we don't do the stuff that didn't work. Like I don't think we're
like a soapbox type of.
For me?
You guys just forbade each other. I mean, when you discuss,
Yeah. And
I want to talk a lot, you know. I just talk a lot, but I do.
To be honest, I think we're just really hanging out anyway.
Yeah. I'm a bit tired. I'm almost out of film, and I've got a joint in the car that I'm going to be hitting in a minute.
How about Purple Bud? We can talk too.
That's kind of you. But I do. I don't need to.
There's like a whole big picture thing running into guys like you that show just how diverse Colorado is. That you'll meet the most interesting people in Colorado. Like you just walking down the mall, I've had like mind-blowing conversations with people that have such unique perspectives.
Yeah.
There's no box that I can clearly draw that's good.
Yeah.
I'm from Long Island though.
So, because that's part of our conversation too, is sort of how much of a person's upbringing is involved in making them a good person. Because you just said you were raised by good people, and that seems to be very, very valuable in helping people to become good people.
Those morals and values at a young age.
Yeah.
You see to carry that, and I was taught by people that taught me one hand washes the other.
Yeah.
And you get more beef with honey than vinegar. Two staples that I was taught by.
Yeah.
And love.
Yeah, tell me about love. Like how?
My mother taught me the whole definition of love.
Yeah, what is the definition of love?
To feel needed and to be wanted, but to be accepted and to be also reciprocal. Because it's love. It's hard to get that. My mother was able to. My mother was wicked smart. She spoke 5 languages and she is wicked smart. She somehow was able to. She was just the way she taught me was like. I was more of like a brother than a mother. She was like, hey, you want to stop burning things? Go ahead, son. You're gonna burn the shit out of yourself. So then that way it taught me that I didn't need to go out and get drunk every night. I don't even drink alcohol. I do get fucked up, but I'm not meant to. But my mom taught me like.
My drug of choice is weed. That's my drug of choice.
Yes, brother.
Coffee. I don't think I'd be the same man without it in the morning.
Yeah, I have that Mormon stigma, so I've never had coffee in my life.
An addiction is like a running theme.